It's been a while since I've been here in this beautiful chapel in Watertown, Massachusetts. Such care is taken every season when they change the liturgy for Advent. You see the beautiful wreath, and around me are these icons of patron saints, the Stations of the Cross. And as I walked in here today, I thought what a tragedy it would be if someone came in and stole them, or even someone who would ban the vision of these articles, someone who might smash them into pieces. That's part of our history, though, as a church. Back in the late 700s, in the Byzantine Empire, an emperor by the name of Leo banned all Christian images. We're talking the statues, the icons, because he thought that Christians were exercising idolatry. But the saint that the church holds up for our commemoration today, John Damascene, he lived from 657 to 749, he spoke out against that heresy of iconoclasm. He said that, in fact, that it was a bad thing to destroy these images. He wrote in one of his treatises that it is not the material that we honor, but what it represents. The honor paid to the images goes to the one who is represented by the image. And how many of us have been touched by sacred imagery, whether it's a nice statue, a painting, an icon, something that gives us peace, and we don't worship it. The task of that image is to guide us into a proper relationship with God, getting us the time to slow down whenever we enter a sacred place, like a chapel, a church, a monastery. We look around and say, something greater is existing here. Not specifically the icon or the image, but that leads us into the relationship with God, Father, Son, and Spirit. Dutch priest Henry Nouwen, in a beautiful book about icons, said the following about the one who writes, who makes an icon. That person's first concern is not to make himself known, but to proclaim God's kingdom through his art. They try to give us a glimpse of heaven. Icons are painted to lead us into the inner room of prayer and bring us closer to the heart of God. That can be an Advent message for all of us. God's heart that beats for us wants us to draw closer to him. And looking upon those places in our homes, perhaps, are we having our homes built solidly on rock, as Christ reminds us in the gospel today? The home, which is where the gospel is first taught to us by parents and fed by examples of people in our family, godparents. The church, exemplified by a home built on the foundation of Christ, is brought together by that love, that heart of God that beats. And Advent is the time to see if we might need to have that sacred space brought out. One of the favorite things I have in my office is this icon. I turn to it many times, and we honored this Mother of God, Light in All Darkness, this past Monday, because this icon was about people living with AIDS. December 1st, the world commemorates World AIDS Day. Mother of God, light in all darkness, shelter him, our flame of hope, with your tender hands. And in our times of dread and nightmares, let Christ be our dream of comfort. And in our times of physical pain and suffering, let him be our healer. And in our times of separation from God and one another, let him be our communion. The communion that we prepare for during these Advent days. When Christ came among us as a child 2,000 years ago, and he comes among us during this time of the liturgy of the Eucharist, united by the Word and the altar. And then we prepare and celebrate these mysteries until he comes again. And we look to those sacred images, men and women who have given their lives for the faith, those men and women who have succeeded in holiness. May we share in their holiness as we prepare for the coming of Christ during this beautiful Advent season.